While ceremonial duties come with the role, the expectations from Raj Bhavan goes beyond protocols. I'm honored to invite the Honourable Governor of Kerala, Shri Rajendra Viswanath Arlekar, to today's episode of Netra Expressions. Honourable Governor, thank you so much for joining us.
Namaskar.
Kerala is a state which is very known for literacy rates and political awareness. How has been your experience so far engaging with a state that bears both its intellect and opinion on its sleeve?
It is true that Kerala is a very highly literate state, and I am proud of that. That we call it 100% literacy here. But that always has to go along with education, enlightenment. Merely being literate is not sufficient. We have to be more educated, more understanding, knowing more about each topic. And Kerala is doing that. That is what I have seen for last few months, about almost 6 months now. I have seen that Kerala people and particularly intellectuals here, they want to have more and more topics to be discussed in public. Many of them are opinion makers also. They want to establish their supremacy also. That supremacy is being established also by them. So what I found is that there is a very need for intellectual support for many people here, and they want to have events which are related to their intelligence, their thinking. That was the need here. I think people of Kerala will certainly have that in coming future also. And I consider these people as opinion makers. They talk, they speak, they spread whatever they think. So that certainly creates some opinion, creates some constituency.
In a state that takes pride for literacy, yet grappling with rising youth unemployment and academic rigidity, your voice holds weight. Let's move on with what's most important: employment and education. The National Education Policy of 2020 envisions holistic and multidisciplinary learning. How do you foresee its implementation right now?
Its implementation is very much necessary. It has not been fully implemented here. It should be done. When I came to Kerala, I found that it is being implemented. Maybe it having some other name or something, but the core thinking, core principles of the policy, education policy, are being implemented here, are being taken well by the educated and the people who are related to education. As you said, it is a multidisciplinary education system, and it has to be introduced in our youths so that they can go for any study which they want, any topic they can study wherever they are. And that certainly will lessen the gap of unemployment and the youth. Certainly, because after few years you will be able to see that everybody is skilled in somewhere, in some field or other. So that skill is very much necessary nowadays. That skill is being promoted by the national education policy. If we implement in its true spirit, our state also will be at still higher levels. So we are expecting our people, our policy makers, to go for this, implement it very seriously, and get some brighter future for our next generation.
What are your thoughts on integrating skill-based education into our current curriculum?
It is that, see, few years back, India is such a vast country, but the skilled people in our country were just about 2 to 3%. That was the skill in our country. After in last 10, 11 years, we are just watching what is tremendously happening to this particular skilled development. The government of India first time had a special ministry for skill development. Earlier there was not so. So it reflects on the intentions of the government that they want to have give thrust upon the skill development. After few years, you could see that there is a tremendous trend that many people want to acquire some or other skill within themselves, and from 2% of the skill which our people had, it has jumped to now more than 14 to 20%. That is because of the policy implemented. Now this skill is directly linked to your employment. So government also has to increase and develop, generate more and more employment opportunities. Automatically that task comes before the government, central government as well as state government. Both of them have to work to see that our next generation gets employment. Employment doesn't mean a job. I am always I always propagate you, whether you want to become a job seeker or job giver. So employment can means a self-employment, not necessarily a job seeker. So all these things, opportunities are to be developed by both the governments at the center as well at state. So skill development as and when it increases, automatically the need for and opportunities for the employment will increase. Government should come to it.
What is the role of Indian knowledge systems in today's education landscape?
See, our Indian knowledge system, uh, we see this particular phrase very recently being discussed very widely. And many people, including myself, we don't understand what does that mean. But if you little bit go deep into it and try to study that, you will understand that what Indian knowledge system stands for. Throughout the years, many years, ages, we have been just, in fact, ignored that what is our knowledge system, what is our Indian knowledge system. Indian knowledge system is basically, it means the knowledge which keeps you rooted towards your soil. That is the knowledge system. From there, everything grows. If you just look at our history, you will find that we were lacking behind in no sphere. Our country, our people, all those people in the ancient years, you could just find out that everything was so advanced here, and why we are still lacking behind. The problem, I tell you, there was in the education system itself. The education system, after the Britishers came here, the existing education system was destroyed by the British people here, by the invaders. I call them invaders. So invaders, they tried to not tried, they destroyed. And that is how today we have become more than the Englishmen. More than the Englishmen. We are English more than them. So that education system had direct impact on our lives, on our thinking, on our thought process, on our practices. So, and that was the reason why we could not understand what was Indian knowledge system. We must again go back and study, understand, and let us know what was the Indian knowledge system was. Now that we have new education policy, that is National Education Policy 2020, it again gives you an opportunity to go towards Indian knowledge system. This Indian knowledge system will give you a vast opportunities to understand, to learn everything. We always try to see whatever has been there in our ancestors' studies, and that all are fake one. We call it mythology, we call it myths, which were not myths, which were part of our history. So that has to be studied again and again. And if we, in a true sense, try to understand Indian knowledge system, I think it will enrich ourselves, our knowledge, our thinking, and our presentation towards society.
Kerala has been a frontrunner in education indicators. How do you perceive the current trajectory of our education landscape?
It has been, nobody can deny that. Kerala has been at the forefront. Many people want to understand how Kerala has achieved this particular milestone, how they have done, what were their uh, system, what were their uh, ground level education system, what were their principles, how they practically did this. That is a good part to understand by everybody. I was in Bihar earlier. That time, Bihar Higher Secondary School Education Board was conducting some classes, or what should I say, some courses. And through that courses, they wanted to know, I was there in Bihar, they wanted to know how Kerala has come to such a level. They were trying to study that. And I remember the board of directors, a team had come to Kerala here from Bihar to study what was the pattern that. So this particular pattern of education, pattern means the system, I should say, the system itself has got great relevance to our today's education system. So this system has to be developed in a proper way. It should not inject into the students some nausea about our historical facts, nausea about our culture. It should not implicate. So what we want is that, keeping inside our minds, our hearts, that we are a proud followers, we had proud ancestors of our culture, history, and tradition. We will march ahead. That is exactly what we need today in Kerala's education system. Today we are just referring to textbooks, and we just try to go ahead. There are many other agencies which are working to destabilize our education system. What we need is, our need today is for Kerala, if I speak about Kerala, we must understand what our next generation wants to know, how this next generation will be. And accordingly, we have to frame our all syllabus, all patterns, all systems of education, so that they will be benefiting, having a good connection, having a proud connection with our past.
We are seeing many students migrating from Kerala to another states and other countries for higher quality education. Do you think we are failing our intellectual capabilities, or do we need any reforms in our education system at the moment?
Of late, I have this concern in my mind also. I am disturbed. When I came to Kerala, I was very happy to be amongst the people who are very much intelligent, educated, literate. But gradually, I found that many people, as you said, many students, they're migrating our state.
Yes.
They are going to Bengaluru, they go to Chennai, they go to Pune or Mumbai, Delhi, many states, other places of learning. When I was in, again, I am referring to Bihar, I had come to Madurai for a lecture in Kamaraj University. In that university, I was interacting with students. I found there some students from Bihar also. But that time it was not different for me, or I was not surprised. But there were many students from Kerala also in Madurai, Kamaraj University. Today, I feel the heat of that. Why our students? Because we have such a nice education system of education, and which we are proud of. Why our students are going outside? This particular fact, it is a fact. We just cannot deny that. This particular fact has to be discussed, has to be thought of by the experts in education field. Why this is happening? Now, recently, I have had a meeting of vice chancellors of all universities. Before them, I just presented this view of mine and said that why this is happening. As the responsible citizens of the state, like VCs or professors or somebody else, or otherwise also who are not related, is it not our responsibility to think over this and give some good solution to the students? It is our responsibility. So, but a person like me who has got no relation with education will not be able to give any solution. But the VCs who are very much there in the education field, who have studied many things, they must be able to, after discussion and deliberation, able to give some solution to this. And it is a great concern for our people, the people in the government also. They must see why this is happening. Just cannot brush it away. No, no, it is not that. You cannot say so. You have to recognize that this is the problem and then try to find a solution. We must all come together to find a solution.
Digital access has become a prerequisite in today's learning. So, how can we bridge the rural urban divide that happens when educational equality comes in topic?
No, that is up to the implementing agencies. See, digital access is not the monopoly of the urban people.
Yes.
It should not be. The people who are staying in villages or the rural areas, they also have to have access for digital processing. What we are to do, that is to be decided. Nowadays, we see many examples. If you see a hawker along the street, along the road, he uses this, what is that, UPI and all that, QR code and all that. Just you go there and he has to pay that. He may not understand much about the digital process and everything, but he understands once you take your mobile, you show the QR code, money comes to his account. He understands this. Even this understanding, this knowledge, as on today, is sufficient for our people. But unfortunately, this has not gone to the rural areas so far.
Yes.
We will have to again come out with some plans and some intensive plans that rural people also should be made educated regarding this process. We have to do it.
Yes.
As a university or any people, we all have to do this, go to all these areas, may it tribal or anybody else, but the rural areas we cannot keep away from this revolution of digitization. We have to go there.
Do you believe the current regulatory frameworks governing state universities allow for enough academic autonomy and innovation, or are we still trapped in a bureaucratic rigidity?
See, in our country, bureaucracy has been always having its upper hand in all the matters. In all the matters. That is the unfortunate part of the system. Here also in education also bureaucracy plays a big role. But the policymakers, lawmakers should overcome all these hindrances. They should say that this is to be done in the interest of the society. So what we can do in the interest of our next generation, young students, young people, that has to be decided. And we should not be satisfied with what has been done so far. If we are unsatisfied, then only we will be able to do something in education field which is a new one, which we want to do it. So if national education policy is implemented in toto, you will understand that what we need here. Let us try to sit again, have discussions. If whatever is good in the interest of our next generation, we will implement them. That implementation is very much necessary. The willpower to implement that is very much required within the governments and within the administration. The government and the administration, they both of them have to come together to have this type of system, so that we will be getting a better tomorrow for our next generation.
As a student of journalism, I'm curious to know what all reforms are essential in today's media landscape and what advice would you give to today's journalism aspirants?
You will be answering this in a better way, because you are a student of that. I am in no way connected with journalism. Only people like, I will not say like you, but people, they ask some questions. That is what for me the journalism is. Otherwise, don't have any. I can't even smell properly about journalism. But what journalism has to do, they have to keep in mind. This is what my common man's thinking, that journalism also should be in the interest of the public, in the common man, should be also in the interest of the public, in the interest of the society, in the interest of the nation. They have to take a pledge, all the journalists, that I will do nothing which goes against my people, which goes against my society, which goes against my nation. You may not call yourself nationalistic, it is not necessary, but I am here as a responsible citizen of this country. I have to deliver something for the people. That is the reason why I have been chosen by Almighty to be a journalist. Almighty has been very kind to me, to that he has chosen me as a journalist. So I must be able to do some justice to that particular profession. So that professionalism is required, no doubt. But at the same time, some relation towards society, towards people, and commitment towards national nation is very much necessary. Nowadays, why I am telling you this? Nowadays, there are many journalists.
Yes.
They consider their profession as the soul and whole of everything. They don't understand, or even if they understand, they don't try to go that way, that my profession as the journalist is in the interest of the nation, should be in the interest of the nation. They don't understand this. Many a times we see that we call that journalist or journals, or for that matter newsprint and newspapers, they are opinion makers. Certainly they are opinion makers. If you are having a tag of opinion maker, then the responsibility of yours increases manifold. If you consider yourself as an opinion maker, then you have got more responsibility towards the public, towards the society. So you are a responsible person. What should be there in my journal? What should be there on the front page of my journal? What should be my breaking news if I am in a electronic media? What should be that? That has to be decided whether it is going to hurt or not. Some people, I should not do it if it hurts. It hurts the society. It hurts the thinking of the people. I will not go for it. Even if it gives me some more money, I will not go for it. These ethics are very much necessary. Nowadays, unfortunately, there is less to talk about ethics now. Gradually, we are falling down. Gradually, we are falling down. Can some of your people like you and all these people who are in journalism think of some better tomorrow in terms of ethics? considering something that yes, I will be living for my country, I will be living for my people and society. That has to be a commitment. Nobody will question you if you do not do that, but your inner conscience will certainly question you, ask you this question. We must be able to answer this very seriously and very consciously. Yes, I am there to protect this.
Thank you so much, Honorable Governor, for having this warm conversation.